Before a man can hope to master his environment, his circumstances, his fortune, or his future, he must first master himself. Self-mastery is not an act but a lifelong discipline, a ceaseless conquest over the untamed impulses that reside within every human being. It is the ability to command one's mind, to govern one's thoughts, to restrain one's emotions, and to direct one's energy toward a definite and chosen purpose. Without it, no amount of education, privilege, or opportunity can secure success. Without it, the man is as a ship without a rudder, driven by the changing winds of circumstance and dashed upon the rocks of failure. Self-mastery begins with thought, for thought is the seed of all action. A man who does not control what he thinks cannot control what he becomes. The mind, like a fertile field, will produce whatever is planted in it, whether weeds or wheat, chaos or achievement. It is not enough to hope for good fortune. It must be cultivated through deliberate, conscious thinking. To allow fear, doubt, envy, and despair to occupy the mind is to invite defeat long before the first battle has even been fought. Mastery demands that the mind be guarded, like a fortress, against every invading thought that weakens resolve or clouds vision. The man who would achieve must next master his habits. Habits are the silent architects of destiny. They operate without command, without notice, and often without mercy. Good habits lift a man towards success with seemingly effortless ease, while bad habits drag him downward with invisible chains. Self-mastery demands that every habit be scrutinized, that every practice be weighed against the standard of one's highest purpose. There is no minor habit, no harmless vice, when success is the prize at stake. Each small indulgence, each moment of weakness, each neglected duty compounds until it shapes the very fabric of a man's character. Emotion, too, must come under the strict discipline of the will. It is not that emotion must be extinguished, for emotion is the fire that fuels great achievement. But like fire, it must be controlled and directed. Left untended, it rages and destroys. Harnessed, it warms and illuminates. The man who is a slave to his emotions, who acts in anger, who recoils in fear, who wallows in self-pity, forfeits the right to lead his own life. Passion must be channeled, ambition must be focused, courage must be cultivated, and despair must be defeated. Self-mastery demands that emotions serve reason, not rule it. The mastery of self also extends to the control of one's speech. Words are the outward expression of inner thought, and once spoken, they shape relationships, opportunities, and destinies. Idle words, careless promises, angry outbursts. These are the marks of an undisciplined soul. Success belongs to the man whose words are deliberate, constructive, and infused with purpose. He speaks only to build, to encourage, to command, and to inspire. He does not waste his strength in gossip, in complaint, or in idle boasting. His tongue is as much under control as his mind and his hand. Time itself must be mastered, for every wasted moment is a theft from the treasure of achievement. The undisciplined man squanders hours in trivial pursuits, in distractions that neither nourish the mind nor advance the purpose. He tells himself that there will be more time, another chance, a better day. But the master of himself knows that time, once lost, is lost forever. He lives with urgency, not in panic, but with the solemn knowledge that every day is a brick laid in the edifice of his destiny. Each hour is an opportunity to labor, to learn, to advance a little closer toward the summit of his ambition. Energy must also be placed under command. The man who masters himself does not fritter away his strength in 1,000 scattered efforts. He selects his chief aim and pours into it the full measure of his vitality. He resists the lure of lesser tasks, the seduction of easy victories, the temptation to divide his strength among many pursuits. And he knows that greatness demands concentration, that the river which waters many fields becomes a trickle, while the river confined to a single channel carves canyons and moves mountains. The environment in which a man places himself must be selected and shaped by deliberate choice. The self-mastered man does not allow himself to be molded by surroundings unfit for greatness. He chooses his companions carefully, associates only with those whose influence lifts him higher, and seeks out conditions that nourish his mind and character. He does not excuse his failures by pointing to his circumstances. Rather, he bends his circumstances to his will. He is the architect, not the victim of his environment. Finally, the man who would master himself must discipline his ambitions and desires. He must distinguish between the fleeting wants of the moment and the enduring needs of his purpose. Not every opportunity is to be seized. Not every prize is worth the pursuit. Self-mastery demands discernment, the ability to say no to that which dazzles but distracts, the ability to forego immediate pleasure for lasting achievement. Desire must be the servant of purpose, not its master. The foundation of all great achievement is definiteness of purpose. No man has ever risen to the heights of success by accident or by drifting aimlessly from one ambition to another. The successful man chooses a chief aim, fixes it firmly in his mind, and dedicates every thought, every act, and every ounce of his strength to its realization. He does not waver. He does not allow doubt to creep in and poison the wellspring of his ambition. He stands like a mountain against the winds of circumstance and criticism, unwavering in the pursuit of his chosen goal. Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all accomplishment because it brings order to the chaos of human energy. The man without a definite purpose squanders his efforts, dissipating his talents upon 1,000 petty concerns. His days are filled with busyness, but devoid of progress. Like a ship without a compass, he is at the mercy of every current and wind. In contrast, the man of definite purpose is guided by a single star. Every decision, every action, every plan is weighed against the standard of whether it brings him closer to his goal. He does not waste time on what does not serve his purpose. He does not allow distractions to divert him from his path. It is not enough, however, to merely possess a purpose. It must be a purpose that burns with the intensity of a white-hot flame. It must be a purpose that quickens the heartbeat, that stirs the soul to action, that drives a man to labor beyond the point of ordinary endurance. A lukewarm desire produces only lukewarm results. The man who half wishes for success will find that success eludes him. Only the man who stakes his very existence upon the realization of his goal, who makes it his obsession, who binds himself to it with unbreakable chains of determination, will find the doors of achievement swing open before him. But even the most definite of purposes must be married to relentless effort, or it remains a mere dream. Relentless effort is the hammer that forges the dream into reality. It is the daily toil, the persistent labor, the refusal to quit when faced with obstacles or defeat. Success does not yield to the man who tries once or twice and then retreats. It yields only to the man who hurls himself against the walls of difficulty again and again until they crumble beneath the pressure of his will. Relentless effort means laboring when inspiration has fled, when fatigue gnaws at the bones, when failure mocks from every side. It is easy to work when the winds are fair and the spirit is high. It is the relentless worker who continues when the skies darken, when discouragement whispers seductively of surrender, when the reward seems distant and uncertain. He understands that the path to success is littered with the wreckage of those who gave up too soon. He knows that every step taken in adversity, every task completed under duress, builds strength, character, and the kind of endurance that success demands. The man of relentless effort does not seek immediate gratification. He is willing to sow the seed today for a harvest that may not come for months or years. He understands that the laws of nature do not hurry, yet all things are accomplished. Like the farmer who labors through the seasons without yet seeing the fruits of his toil, he trusts that the reward will come to those who have earned it through steadfast labor. Impatience is the enemy of achievement. Perseverance is its ally. Definiteness of purpose and relentless effort together form an unbeatable alliance. Purpose without effort is daydreaming. Effort without purpose is wasted motion. But when a burning aim is pursued with unceasing labor, when the mind is fixed and the hands are tireless, when the soul is set upon a single mission with unrelenting fervor, then success is not a question of if, but when. No obstacle, no setback, no hardship can permanently bar the way of the man who knows exactly what he wants and works every day without fail to secure it. The man with definite purpose does not depend upon chance or the favor of others. He does not wait for the perfect opportunity. He creates opportunity through his energy and action. He understands that fortune is not something that visits the idle, but something that is seized by the bold. Each day he wakes with his purpose before him, and each night he measures his progress by the work accomplished. He does not grow discouraged by temporary failure, because he sees in every setback a lesson, in every disappointment a hidden advantage. There is power in knowing precisely what one desires, and there is invincibility in working tirelessly toward it. The currents of life may batter him, but they cannot alter his course. Critics may jeer, but they cannot dissuade him. Doubts may arise, but they cannot defeat him. His is the quiet, persistent, tireless advance of one who has determined not merely to dream of greatness, but to make greatness his reality. In the grand theater of life, where men are born with different talents, different fortunes, and different circumstances, there exists one force that makes all men equal. That force is hard work. It cares nothing for the lineage of a man, nothing for the wealth of his ancestors, nothing for the schooling he did or did not receive. Hard work is the great equalizer, the one resource available to every man willing to grasp it with both hands and bend it to his will. Talent is a fine thing, but it is no guarantee of success. The world is littered with the forgotten graves of men who were gifted beyond measure, but who lacked the will to labor diligently at their craft. Intelligence, too, is a mighty tool, but it rusts and crumbles without the constant sharpening that only hard work can provide. Opportunity knocks for many, but it opens the door only for those who are prepared. And preparation is the child of steady, persistent labor. Fortune smiles upon a few for a moment, but she remains faithful only to those who prove themselves through work. The man who relies upon his natural talents alone, who believes that he can coast to greatness without effort, is building his dreams upon sand. Talent may gain a man an early advantage, but only labor ensures that he holds it. A flash of brilliance may gain applause for a day, but sustained excellence belongs only to those who toil day after day, sharpening their skills, deepening their knowledge, perfecting their craft. Hard work transforms raw talent into enduring mastery. Hard work demands no pedigree, no letter of recommendation, no nod from the powerful. It is the one currency that all men may earn equally and spend with equal effect. A man born into poverty may outstrip a prince if he will but work harder, longer, and with greater purpose. A man without education may build an empire if he will but commit himself to relentless labor and ceaseless improvement. Life grants unequal gifts, but hard work offers an equal chance at greatness for those willing to pay its stern price. Labor has a way of revealing character. It sifts the pretender from the genuine article. In the heat of persistent effort, the faint-hearted fall away and only the truly determined endure. A man cannot fake hard work. He may deceive others with a show of effort for a time, but the fruits of his labor, or the lack thereof, will ultimately expose him. In the end, the field belongs not to the swift, nor to the clever, but to the man who continues to plow when others have ceased, who continues to climb when others have turned back, who continues to fight long after the timid have surrendered. There are those who complain that the odds are stacked against them, that the world is unfair, that success is reserved for the favored few. These men misunderstand the true nature of opportunity. While circumstances may differ, the power to work remains in every man's hands. The hours of the day are the same for the rich and the poor, the educated and the unlettered, the strong and the weak. It is how these hours are spent, how rigorously they are used, that determines the measure of a man's success. Hard work is no respecter of excuses. It rewards only results. The man who embraces hard work as his ally gains a strength that no opposition can defeat. Each hour of labor builds his skill, deepens his knowledge, strengthens his will. He may begin with less than others, but through the steady accumulation of effort, he surpasses those who thought themselves beyond his reach. Success does not descend like a sudden thunderbolt. It accumulates like a mighty river fed by countless small streams of persistent effort. The path of hard work is not glamorous. It is lined with early mornings, late nights, missed pleasures, and uncelebrated struggles. It demands sacrifice, patience, and endurance, but it offers in return the solid satisfaction of progress earned by one's own hand, the quiet pride of knowing that each step forward was taken through one's own strength, not given by another. The victories gained through hard work are sweeter because they are truly one's own. In every field, in every age, the men who have risen to greatness have been men of labor. They have toiled when others rested, persisted when others abandoned hope, endured when others fled. They understood that hard work is not merely a means to an end, but a transforming force that shapes the man even as it builds his achievements. Through work, they forged character. Through character, they forged destiny. The world offers no guarantees and no easy roads, but it offers this one promise, that hard work, persistently applied with intelligence and purpose, will never be in vain. The man who seeks success must first gain mastery over himself, and no part of that conquest is more critical than the domination of emotion by discipline. Emotion is a powerful force. It can lift a man to the heights of inspiration or hurl him into the depths of despair. But emotion, when left unchecked, is wild and treacherous. It cannot be trusted to steer the course of a man's destiny. Discipline, and discipline alone, must hold the reins, guiding the power of emotion toward constructive ends. Emotion, by its nature, is impulsive, irrational, and fleeting. It reacts to the moment without regard for the long-term consequences. It is easily swayed by circumstances, by the moods of others, by fleeting triumphs or temporary defeats. A man who allows himself to be ruled by emotion becomes as unstable as the weather, shifting his plans and his efforts with every gust of fortune. Today he burns with ambition, tomorrow he sinks into apathy. Today he is filled with courage, tomorrow he trembles with fear. No great achievement can arise from such a foundation. Only discipline can bring steadiness to the storms of the heart. Being discipline over emotion does not mean the suppression of feeling, nor the cold extinguishment of passion. It means the mastery of feeling, the ability to recognize emotion for what it is and to direct it toward the service of one's definite purpose. The disciplined man does not allow anger to drive him into rash decisions, nor fear to paralyze him into inaction. He does not allow the sweetness of success to lull him into complacency, nor the bitterness of failure to poison his will. He feels, but he does not yield. He experiences emotion, but he commands it. Anger is a powerful emotion that can shatter relationships, destroy opportunities, and ruin reputations if left unchecked. The disciplined man feels the surge of anger rise within him, but does not permit it to dictate his speech or his actions. He recognizes anger for what it is, a temporary madness, a fire that consumes all judgment. He waits, he breathes, he counts the cost before he speaks or moves. He acts, not in the heat of passion, but in the cool deliberation of reason. Fear is another emotion that wrecks the ambitions of countless men. Fear whispers that the goal is too distant, that the obstacle is too great, that the dream is too bold. Fear causes men to retreat before they have even begun the battle. But the disciplined man acknowledges fear without submitting to it. He studies its source, measures its merit, and then proceeds according to reason, not terror. He understands that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it, the ability to act rightly in spite of it. Even joy, an emotion so universally praised, can become a trap when not governed by discipline. The man who celebrates prematurely, who believes that a small victory is the final triumph, often falls into the snare of complacency. Discipline reminds him that a single success is but one step in a long journey, that the race is not to the sprinter, but to the one who endures to the end. He tempers his celebrations with vigilance, understanding that the true reward lies not in fleeting moments of happiness, but in the enduring satisfaction of a purpose fulfilled. Self-pity, perhaps the most corrosive emotion of all, finds no foothold in the disciplined soul. It tempts the weak man to excuse his failures, to wallow in misery, to seek sympathy rather than solutions. But the man of discipline rejects self-pity as a thief of time and energy. He knows that feeling sorry for oneself achieves nothing, solves nothing, builds nothing. He meets adversity with action, not lamentation. The discipline of emotion is most fiercely tested in times of defeat. It is easy to be master of oneself when all goes well, when success follows success and the path seems smooth. It is when failure strikes, when betrayal wounds, when hardship grinds against the spirit, that the true measure of discipline is revealed. The disciplined man does not surrender to despair. He does not lash out in bitterness. He does not collapse into helplessness. He feels the blow, but he does not falter. He sets his jaw, steadies his heart, and continues forward with purpose unshaken. The mastery of emotion through discipline is not a one-time achievement, but a daily practice. It requires constant vigilance, continual reflection, and unwavering commitment. Each day presents new provocations, new temptations to indulge emotion over reason. The disciplined man meets each challenge with deliberate control, recognizing that every moment of self-mastery strengthens the will and fortifies the spirit. It is discipline that enables a man to rise above the petty slights and minor defeats that might otherwise derail his progress. It is discipline that keeps the fires of ambition burning steadily when others have allowed theirs to go out. It is discipline that transforms suffering into strength, hardship into endurance, defeat into wisdom. The man who entrusts his destiny to luck surrenders his power. He casts aside the most potent force he possesses, his ability to think, to plan, to act with deliberate purpose. Luck is a mirage, a fleeting shadow that lures the idle and the dreamer into waiting for a harvest they have not sown. The man who builds his future upon the foundation of luck builds upon sand. But the man who places his faith in effort, who trusts in the eternal law of cause and effect, anchors his life to a rock that no storm can displace. There are those who speak longingly of fortune, who hope for the sudden windfall, the unexpected favor, the accidental discovery that will lift them above the common ranks of men. They waste their days waiting for chance to bless them, while others, less gifted perhaps, but more determined, move steadily forward by the power of their own consistent labor. Luck may occasionally smile upon a man, but she is a fickle and unfaithful mistress. Effort, steady and intelligent, is a servant who never betrays. Faith in effort is not mere optimism. It is an unshakable belief in the justice of the universe. It is the understanding that every seed planted with care, every hour spent in honest toil, every task completed with excellence bears fruit in its season. The man of faith in effort knows that while rewards may not come immediately, they are certain to come. He is not dismayed by the slow passage of time, nor discouraged by the initial lack of visible results. He trusts the process because he understands that nature does not cheat those who work in harmony with her laws. The one who places his faith in effort possesses an inner certainty that cannot be shaken by external events. He does not grow envious when he sees others succeed through means he considers unfair or dishonest. He does not allow the seeming injustices of life to breed bitterness within him. He keeps his gaze fixed upon his own path, confident that the work of his own hands and the steadfastness of his own heart will carry him to the heights he seeks. His peace comes from within, from the knowledge that he is building something real, something enduring. Effort is a seed that grows underground before it breaks into the light. Many abandon their labors because they cannot immediately see the fruits of their work. They grow weary, impatient, and despairing, forgetting that the laws of growth are invisible and inviolable. The man of faith continues to sow, continues to tend his garden, trusting that the harvest will come if he does not faint. His confidence in effort sustains him through the seasons of barrenness and delay. The belief in luck leads inevitably to inaction, procrastination, and self-pity. It breeds a habit of waiting rather than working, hoping rather than doing, complaining rather than creating. The man who depends on luck relinquishes control over his own life. He becomes a pawn in a game he does not understand and cannot influence. His days are filled with longing, his nights with regret. He watches opportunities pass him by because he was not prepared to seize them through timely action. In contrast, the man who places his faith in effort is never idle. He understands that every day offers a chance to advance, to improve, to lay another stone upon the foundation of his success. He does not despise small beginnings, nor does he disdain humble tasks. He knows that greatness is not achieved in a single leap, but through the accumulation of countless acts of effort, each one building upon the last. He labors today with an eye to tomorrow, understanding that the fruits of his labor may ripen slowly but will be all the sweeter for the waiting. The man of effort is not deceived by the glitter of sudden success stories. He knows that behind every triumph that appears overnight lies years of unseen preparation. He understands that while luck may explain a momentary advantage, it can never sustain lasting greatness. Only the work of diligent hands, guided by a clear purpose and strengthened by perseverance, can build an empire that will not crumble when the first winds of adversity blow. Faith in effort is above all faith in oneself. The belief that through one's own actions, one's own choices, and one's own labor, one can shape one's destiny. It is the conviction that the mind, properly directed and disciplined, is the master key to all riches, all achievement, all greatness. It is the refusal to accept helplessness, the rejection of the notion that life is something that happens to a man rather than something he creates through the strength of his own will and the sweat of his own brow. The man who places his faith in effort awakens each day with a sense of mission. He does not wonder whether fortune will favor him today. He sets about the business of earning his fortune. He does not wait for inspiration. He creates it through disciplined action. He does not pray for an easier path. He prays for stronger legs to walk the path before him. Would you also like me to now combine all the expanded keynotes into one full speech for Master Yourself, Master Your Success, the Power of Hard Work, in a smooth, continuous flow? It would feel like a complete, powerful Napoleon Hill style motivational address. The man who masters himself holds within his grasp the power to master any destiny he chooses. Hard work is not merely a means to an end. It is the forge upon which character is shaped, greatness is hammered out, and true success is earned. Talent may open a door, luck may offer a fleeting hand, but only relentless effort, governed by unwavering discipline and fueled by steadfast faith in one's own labor, builds an empire that endures. Life does not favor the fortunate. It rewards the faithful. The men who labor with clear purpose, who command their emotions, who rise after every fall, and who march forward undeterred by circumstance. The path to mastery is not hidden. It is trodden each day by those willing to pay its price. Master yourself, and the world cannot help but yield before you.